Hi friends. So, recording another video log after work. Are you tired of seeing all my green shirts yet? But anyway, so this episode of Steven Universe that I watched was called Tiger Millionaire. And I was kind of confused at that title at first. I kind of thought that this episode was going to be something really different than what it turned out to be. This episode was about wrestling. So, I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't one of my more favorite episodes, partially because I'm not really into wrestling, and partially because this episode was about Amethyst, really, and I'm not a huge fan of Amethyst, let's put it that way. um, but yeah, so Amethyst gets some character development in this episode. I still don't really like her, though. Basically, Pearl and Garnet kind of get mad at her because she goofed off on a mission and, it was dangerous and could have put everyone at risk. And they're like, well, you have to stop goofing off. You're a crystal gem. You need to act like one. And so she is upset, and apparently she's been doing this for a while. They never expressly stated how long, but she goes and blows off steam by wrestling, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it's brought up later in the episode that it's unfair that she uses her gem powers against humans, but she's never really punished for it. Like, I don't know. I think that's wrong. They should have addressed that more in the episode and have her actually answer for it. But, oh well. So we learn that Lars likes to take girls on dates to watch wrestling. So that's something, because Lars was there watching. Steven decides that he wants to join in with the wrestling, and Amethyst agrees because she wants to have the tag team belt. So Steven comes up with this persona, or should I say fursona, called Tiger Millionaire. Basically, I think either raised by tigers or is a tiger or something, and something about like a tropical island, and he's very rich. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to the backstory that much because Steven said it really fast and it was confusing. But anyway, the whole gimmick is that he's rich. So, yeah. Anyway, so he seems to be popular with part of the crowd, I guess, particularly Lars. Lars really likes Tiger Millionaire, even though it's really obvious that it's Steven, but Lars is too stupid to see it. And that kind of leads to humor later on in the episode. I noticed in one shot, it looked like the announcer had no pants on, which is kind of weird. He looked like he was wearing no pants and was wearing galoshes on his feet. Because he was like leaning back in his chair and like kicking his feet up in the air with excitement. And I'm like, is he not wearing pants? That's odd. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I know it's really random, but I have it in my notes and I remember seeing that and thinking it was very odd. So anyway, they keep going and doing these fights and try to keep it secret from Pearl and Garnet. And like I said, Steven gains popularity, particularly with Lars. Well, Steven goes a little too far with his character and hurts Lars's feelings, and then he feels all guilty about it. And he has a sort of heart-to-heart with Amethyst, even though she didn't really help him feel better at all. But something she said was interesting. She said, I only feel how I want to feel. And I guess they were trying to go for inspirational with that, but I don't know. For me, the line was interesting, but it didn't really make me feel like uplifted or anything. So, I don't know. Again, like, it's really difficult for me to feel an emotional pull from Amethyst just because of the type of character she is. But they're in the finals for the tag team belt, and they're going against these guys that the announcer says are handsome, but I didn't really think so. Pearl and Garnet burst in because they saw these posters that Steven had made himself, and so they had found out about it, and they went there to basically, well, they scolded Steven a little bit, but they were mostly scolding Amethyst because Amethyst should know better. She shouldn't be sneaking off to do wrestling, and particularly using her gem powers on humans is bad. So I'm glad that they addressed it in this episode, but like I said, she never really answers for it. Like, she doesn't get disqualified from the competition or anything, so I don't know. I just think it could have been handled better. So Garnet is the usual badass that I love and starts beating Amethyst up because Amethyst is being really belligerent, and so Garnet's like, don't do this, and gauntlet and punch and awesome. I love Garnet. So Steven kind of appeals to Pearl and Garnet. He's like, oh, you need to hear the backstory. I think, is it the Panther? The Purple Panther? I think that's the name. But anyway, he's like, you need to hear his backstory, blah, blah, blah. And he comes up with this thing about how the Purple Panther, or whatever her wrestler name was like an outcast, and joined wrestling to kind of like let off steam and be around other people who are outcasts or whatever. I don't know. Something like that. And Pearl and Garnet buy it, and they pretend to be some sort of like wrestling hating group, and they fight, and Steven and Amethyst win the tag team belt and everything. But Amethyst and Garnet share a moment where they both apologize for fighting each other. I respect Amethyst for apologizing, at least, but I feel like she didn't grow enough as a character in this episode. Which is why I feel that this episode was sort of weak compared to other ones. I didn't really enjoy watching it all that much. The only parts I really liked were the humorous parts involving Lars's obsession with Steven's wrestling character. Which, by the way, the art on Lars's face at the very end, where he's like tearing up and he's like, I love you, Tiger Millionaire. That art was like really... I feel like, I don't remember it distinctly, but I feel like the outlines were not black. I think they were the color of his skin and hair and stuff to make it look more soft. And I don't know. It just looked very soft to me, and it kind of added to the humor of that moment. Just having the art be very like soft and angelic and oh, I love you kind of thing. I I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so this episode overall wasn't one of the stronger ones in my opinion. Um, I feel like this episode could be considered a filler episode because, like, nothing about the crystal gems' powers or world was really revealed in this one. And Amethyst got very minimal character development, so you could skip it. I mean, it's. I'm not mad that I watched it. I don't think I wasted my time or anything. It was still an okay episode, just it doesn't move the story forward, is what I'm trying to say. Um, so yeah, that's my opinion. Sorry if I made any of you sad or angry about my opinion. Sorry if this was your favorite episode, but I'm just not a fan of wrestling, so I don't really get a lot out of this episode, and sorry. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.